stars and sun and moon are not what they seem to be. You can see stars through a half moon. No curvature has ever been measured. And going back even further than this, we know that within the last 200 years, for example, pretty much in between 1800 and 1900, there was a great flood or a mud flood. This is clear worldwide, and all the ancient sites that we see have pretty much been unearthed or unexcavated, and everything that we see now was underground from continent to continent. A lot of these ruins were just barely poking up, and to this day, if we look around, there's still unexcavated sites with no real urgency to excavate. They're everywhere, and little things poking out here and there, and nobody really explores. Every once in a while, a farmer stumbles across something and unearths it, and it might make national news and then just go away. But besides that, there's no rush, it seems. Most of the old unearthings were done 100 years ago. When it comes to the mud flood subject, I think people are hitting it right on the head, and the message is loud and clear, and what I'm really concerned about, and especially this really hit me when I started considering the cosmology issue, and if we weren't spinning at 1,500 miles an hour, then what are we? Is there really a dome? What kind of dome is this? And historically in the Bible and different things, waters came from the heavens, and in other lore we hear of a crack in the Milky Way, which that's what we're actually seeing, and that's where the waters came from and overtook the earth. So when I think about mud floods, I mean, I'm thinking about something like you need to be able to guide and direct this kind of energy. I mean, we're not talking about just opening up a spigot, or are we? Are we talking about just opening up a spigot, but on a grander level? I mean, I suppose there's other ways. If you were in control of this realm, then you would have technologies that we're completely unaware of. And so, yeah, when it comes to the mud flood, I mean, what do? You really have to pour water from above, literally. And so, for me, the great question right now is not, was there a mud flood? Absolutely, there was a mud flood. But my question is how, and can we see evidence of how? And a lot of people are doing great research on geography and where you'll have mountains above the towns and cities that have been mud flooded. But there are some examples where that doesn't fit the case, where you'll have no mountains around and you'll still have a mud flood just appear. And even where I live, I mean, there's areas all over the place. And I've seen this all throughout the Four Corners region as well, all throughout. You have signs of mudflood in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert, as if there's still things under there, as if something had just dumped mud from right on top and completely covered what lay underneath. And I'm so tempted. Of course I can't just go digging at things, and I don't even have heavy machinery, but I feel like we're entitled to know what's under a lot of these things. But in any case, yes, that disproves the whole having a mountain right next to it, because they don't necessarily have to have mountains next to them. And even in South America, some of the pyramids that we saw were completely buried in mud when they first discovered them, and yet there was no mud anywhere else. Many, many examples of such things. So yeah, I mean, strangely, I feel as if there must be keepers of some sort, and really we can't look to science for this. I think the best chance we have to understand who, again, may control this realm, besides going as high as a higher power, I mean like the highest of high, but something that, would have to control waters, for example, and mud, and make decisions on why to reset civilizations, and really just maybe the mud is actually just to cover up the bodies. I don't know. When we look in the 1800s, the early 1800s photos, more specifically 1850s, give or take 10 years, but we see the vacancy of people in the streets and mud. Could this be a mass burial in order to reintroduce a new wave of people? And what is this? Could this be some kind of experiment? And, I feel blessed to actually be even talking about this, and others making videos on this subject, and even be part of this conversation, because this is the real conversation. It's not, yeah, we live in a paradigm where we have to run around and make money and have jobs one way or another, but that's not what's really going on. And if you're listening to this video, then you are not just about that. You are about knowing the truth, and it's really the greatest thing worth pursuing, I think. Where are we really? I mean, we know what's a lie. We know the lies we've been fed. It seems that that's clear now. It seems that that's all we've had is a lie. And what a great idea on their part, feed us a lie at an early age, and give us an occupation to preoccupy us, and let the experiment go on. But once again, I feel blessed to be able to speak about this, and blessed to know that there's a community of us out there that are concerned about this issue, and I hope, and I feel as if, we get closer and closer. I mean, we're moving forward. So I thank you. I thank you, and many blessings until we meet again.